This is my third video for the day. I want to talk about Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice Beetlejuice because I saw both of these movies for the first time recently. I had never seen the original Beetlejuice before, but I saw it recently so that I could see the new one because I was interested in it, and I'm interested in the whole aesthetic of the movie because I find Tim Burton's sort of early aesthetic kind of an interesting thing. He gets a lot of credit for it, but I don't know if he gets as much credit as I think he deserves, because he really had a unique kind of look to his work, his animation and stuff, going all the way back to the beginning. But we're getting a lot of throwbacks and nostalgia lately in the last 10 years. It's been crazy. I mean, everything is coming back. Like, every show from the 90s and the 2000s is coming back. I mean, it's getting kind of ridiculous. Like, everything is... Even Michael Keaton was already doing Batman in that weird Flash movie. Like Michael Keaton as Batman is back in the 2020s. So I guess it makes sense that he would come back again as Beetlejuice. Now, I don't know really what people think about either of these two movies. I don't really know, like, do people really like Beetlejuice? Do they think that it's just okay? Same thing with the sequel, like, did people really like this? I haven't really heard people talking about this movie, really, the sequel that just came out. It doesn't really seem to be getting a lot of attention, so I don't really know what people even believe or think about this movie, like what the consensus is. But I can say that, you know, I watched the first one, and I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was a great movie. I thought it was okay. It was very short. I think it was only 90 minutes long, and it felt like that. It felt like there was a lot more you could do with this character and this world, and it just kind of, yeah, it felt very succinct, but in a way that almost made me go, well, I wish I had a little bit more. The sequel, on the other hand, definitely feels much longer. It is much longer, and it feels much longer, which is not exactly a positive thing to say. You kind of want a movie to feel shorter than it is, but in this case the movie did kind of feel long. But on the other hand, I actually like the sequel more than the first movie. I think it's better, because I think they did take more advantage of the world and the setting and the characters. They did a little bit more with it. It felt a little bit more fun. As much as I don't like Alec Baldwin, I did like the whole thing in that first movie, the whole concept of it, where these two people die young and they sort of realize that they're ghosts, but the only thing that they're given is this handbook for the recently deceased, and they're too lazy to read the fucking thing. Which is really funny. It feels very realistic. But of course, the character in this new movie, the ghost character, the boyfriend, I really liked his acting, by the way. I don't know, I can't remember what his name is. He hasn't been in anything except House of the Dragon. But he seemed very familiar to me, as if I'd seen him before, but apparently I haven't, because he hasn't been in anything. But I like that they made him a bookworm, and so he did read the whole book, and he does know all of the rules for the recently deceased. I love that little clever detail, and I liked the reveal that he was a ghost. It was clever, because I didn't actually see it coming. I probably should have seen it coming, but I didn't. And I liked how he sort of he has this book, the Handbook for the Recently Deceased, which only ghosts are supposed to have, but he says that he picked it up at a flea market somewhere, and I believed him at first. I was like, okay, I can see that happening, because we know that humans can read the book. Like, Winona Ryder in the first movie read the book. Now, she was a special human who had a connection to ghosts, who could see ghosts, so maybe I should have been tipped off on that level. but also, you know, her daughter also has that ability, and I didn't know that yet. By this point in the movie, we find that out. And so, because both of these characters, we don't know the guy is a ghost, and we don't know that Winona Ryder's daughter has the same ability as her, they're handling this book, and it's like, well, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility that humans could handle this book and see this book. It hasn't been confirmed that that's not the case, and so it was kind of clever about that, where it did leave sort of plausible deniability, where if you're really clever and you pick up on the clues, then you can figure out that this guy is a ghost. But if you're not thinking about that, which I wasn't thinking about that, then it does kind of surprise you, and it works either way. I thought Beetlejuice was a lot funnier in this movie. In this movie in general, Beetlejuice, I thought was funnier than the first one. Like, the first one, you know, it's not really that funny. And Beetlejuice is kind of annoying. And this is the thing that Siskel and Ebert didn't like about it. I saw their review, and they just thought that Michael Keaton was annoying in this role. And he kind of is. You know, and in a likable way. I mean, I do like the character from the first movie, but, you know, he's over the top, he's ridiculous, and he's not really all that hilarious. In this one, I kind of liked him a little bit more. He had some funnier lines. I mean, this movie is very similar, honestly, to the first one. It feels very kind of retro, like a throwback. It really feels like an old Tim Burton movie. And like, it pretty much, I mean, it's like, yeah, this is pretty much what you would want out of a sequel to Beetlejuice. It's pretty much the same tone, the same vibe, the same sort of feel as the first movie. There's very little difference. Only I just think I liked it a little bit more. I think it did a little bit more. It had a few more jokes that resonated with me. I liked the part where Beetlejuice's ex-wife is sucking Bob's soul out of his body, and the name tag goes in her mouth. Like, there's lots of little funny gags like that in this movie that made me laugh, and I loved the end of the movie with the whole cast call, where you're shown all the characters, and Bob and all the other little shrunken head guys are there, and they show Bob at the end, and they're like, R.I.P. Bob 13 something to 2024. Really funny. Like, this movie just feels like a good old-fashioned, lighthearted Tim Burton movie. And I really don't have any complaints. Like, if that's what you're going into, if you're just going into this movie wanting another Beetlejuice movie, it pretty much gives you that. Winona Ryder, I think Winona Ryder is very cute. I like Winona Ryder quite a lot. And so I was really excited to see her in this movie, because I don't think I've seen a movie with her in it in a really long time. Like, I don't even know what she's been doing in the last 20 years or so. But yeah, as cute as ever, Winona Ryder is adorable. And Michael Keaton just slips right back into the character. He maybe doesn't have quite as much energy as he did in the first movie, but I kind of like that, because I kind of felt like his energy was a little bit overbearing in the first movie. He seems a little bit older in this one, and I think it works a little bit better, in my opinion. So other people might disagree. I really loved the Soul Train gag. That was probably my favorite gag in the movie. How the Soul Train is themed like the TV show Soul Train. Really funny. And just things like that are what I like about these movies. The being very whimsical and silly. And Jeffrey Jones, God, it was surreal seeing Jeffrey Jones in a new movie. Like, that was a weird experience. And the funny thing is, he's not even in it. But we see him all the time, but he's not in the movie. It's like they tried really hard to keep like, they really did not want Jeffrey Jones in this movie, and I can kind of understand why. But they even show him animated in stop motion which is bizarre. It reminds me a lot of how they did the CGI Charlie Sheen in the last episode of 2.5 Men, because they really didn't want to have to put Charlie Sheen in the episode. And that was really creepy and weird, and I hated that. But it was kind of supposed to be that way. Like, that last episode of 2.5 Men was supposed to be kind of a big middle finger to everybody in the whole world. But it was really funny in this movie seeing this stop motion Jeffrey Jones, and it worked. It made sense because Tim Burton, of course, stop motion is his thing. So it totally made sense to go that direction for this sort of flashback storytelling sequence. But then we also see the character. We see him without a head because his head was bitten off by a shark. And we see him all the time in the movie. He has lines in the movie. We see a picture, an old photograph of Jeffrey Jones several times, like at the funeral, for instance. Like, Jeffrey Jones is a big part of this movie. He just happens to not be in it, which is so weird. But I like that they didn't replace him, because you just can't replace Jeffrey Jones. He's one of a kind. And so it's good that they recognized that he was an important part of the film, and they put him in the movie, even if they weren't going to actually have the actor in it. It's a good compromise, I think. But yeah, I guess with my whole interest in clowns, I have this kind of awakened interest in clowns, and right now I'm working on research for a video all about the history of clowns, which I'm really excited for. And because of that, I think I'm taking more of an interest in this movie, because I think of the Beetlejuice character as sort of a take on the classic clown. And so yeah, this movie, I think it came about right at the right time for me to enjoy it. And seeing, having no experience with the first movie before watching it, these two basically back to back, it was a cool kind of experience to see. Here's this kind of old movie that a lot of people are nostalgic for, that I have no nostalgia for, so I just think it's okay. And then this new movie, which is, really doing a great job at being a throwback to that old movie. And again, it's not great, it's not like amazing or anything, but it's a really good sort of throwback and a really good follow-up, and it's just a solid kind of, what you would want out of a sequel to this movie. You're pretty much getting it. That's my take on Beetlejuice and the original Beetlejuice. I liked both of them. I liked the sequel a little bit more. That's all I have to say. What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? Tell me below.